Welcome, my name is James Heidema. The question today is, how do I find balance in my life as a financial advisor? I am overwhelmed. The question is, how do I find balance in my life? I'm feeling overwhelmed as a financial advisor. This is not unusual. I've certainly been there myself when I was a financial advisor. It certainly has happened to my team members when I had financial advisors on my team. And it certainly happens to all of the people I meet around the world that I'm either presenting to, training, or coaching. It's a common occurrence in our business. We build up our business, and after a while we have a fair size number of individuals who are customers of ours that require attention, and at the same time we're continuing to build, and after a while you get lost in the middle of all of that and there's no you anymore. Well, there's a number of things that we need to do that I think will be very helpful to you. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is our circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is the cycle that we live our life by. I'm a morning person. 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, I'm always up. I'm always ready to go. It doesn't take me very long to get going. And I've got a lot of energy in the morning. In the afternoon, I tend to get a little sort of slump in my energy. And then early evening, I get some back. But by 10 o'clock at night, I'm done. I'm not going to be staying up till 1 in the morning. And so that's my rhythm. Other people, they have a struggle in the morning to get their act together, as it were. And but through the afternoon and into the evening and into the middle of the night, they're fine. And so first, pay attention to your rhythm. And why is that important? Well, I know that because I am a morning person, then I should do those things in the morning that give me the greatest return on my investment. This is a concept that financial advisors should always be aware of. It. Where's the return on your investment? If you're going to invest some time or money into something, will you get a return? Well, sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes it takes a little longer, and there's two sort of concepts out there: current cost and a capital investment. A current cost is something that you do that you get a return fairly quickly. Let's say, for an example, you get a referral, you call that referral, you set up an appointment, you take them through a process, and they buy from you. And that can all happen within a number of weeks or a month. And so the return is pretty quickly. So that's a current cost activity. If you're a manager and you're building your team, that's a capital investment, because it's going to take a while for your team members to learn the job, to become productive, to give a return on investment to themselves and certainly to you. And so there are certain things we do that are very obviously give us a quick return, and others that give us a much longer return. So if indeed I am a morning person, then I'm going to make sure that I'm making phone calls and I'm holding appointments. I'm doing things that will, or I'm asking referrals. I'm going to do those things that will give me the greatest return in the shortest possible time, when I've got the most energy. And when I've got the least energy, like the afternoons, that's when I'm going to do the capital investment things. Maybe that's when I'm going to do some training with my team members. Maybe I'm going to do some paperwork. Maybe I'm going to do some marketing activities to put my brand out there. Whatever it is, I'm going to spend that time, because I know that I'm not going to get a quick return on those things. And therefore, I want to save my greatest energy for those areas that give me the greatest return, rather than for those things that give me a future return. All right, so that's my cycle. So I'm good in the evening for a couple of appointments, maybe 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. But after that, I tend not to hold appointments, because again, I don't have the energy. And it's not that I'm weak, because I'm not weak, but it's just that that's my rhythm of my body, of when I sleep, when I'm awake. So pay attention to that and build your business around that. Now in the beginning, when you join a team, you probably have to show up for things in the morning and whatever like that. But after you've been in the business for a while, you have greater control of where you spend your time and how you spend your time. Okay, so how else can you take control and not be overwhelmed by your work? Well, next is an agenda. An agenda that you would use in front of the customer is very, very helpful because it keeps you on track. And I find, this is a problem I'll be talking a lot about in the future, is I find that financial advisors just talk far too much. And what an agenda does, it sort of keeps you in control. So my agenda, for an example, for my first appointment is really quite simple. I have an introduction where I spend 10 minutes telling a story about how I behave in the market. Then the majority of the meeting after that is all about them, all about the customer. So it's a customer's reality, and I use a tool called the gap analysis, which I will explain in a future meeting, in a future video. But I use that tool primarily, and I tend not to do much else than that. And then at the end of the gap analysis, if the customer accepts there is a gap and they want to do something about the gap, then next step is the next item. So first item is introduction, second is the gap analysis, third is next steps, next step is the next appointment. What do we need to do? I may need to gather some information. They maybe need to provide me some information if they have some existing policies or investments that I'd like to look at before I come back to them. And then the final thing is how they can help others. And that's all about asking them for referrals, which I do not do at the end of the first appointment. I do at the end of the second appointment. So the agenda, by having an agenda like that, I found the longer I was in the business, the less I talked and the better questions I asked, because the agenda keeps me on track, okay? And it helps the customer understand where we're going and what we're going to be doing, okay? So supporting that agenda is a calendar. And in my calendar, there's a number of things that take place. Now, obviously, those required things by my company, training sessions, role-playing, meetings with my manager, whatever sort of things that are into my agenda. There are times that I block for telephone calls, and I found if I block an hour for phone calls and I did nothing but phone calls, I got better at making phone calls rather than make a call, go do something, make a call, do something else, make a call. When I made a whole bunch of calls in a row, I got much better on the telephone and got better results. So I block off times to that. I block off times to actually meet with customers so I know when I can meet them. I also do a couple of things. I also block off in my agenda time for me. And that takes two forms. One is physical fitness. I don't do it now because I've had some knee problems and I've had a knee replacement. I used to play a lot of squash. And so I played squash a couple of times a week. And that was in my calendar, and that was an appointment with myself that could not be broken. So if a customer called me and said, well, I can meet with you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and that's my squash time, sorry, I'm booked. Because I knew that this job takes a lot of energy, a lot of mental energy and a lot of physical energy to do it well. And so I put in my agenda time to go to the gym and do that thing, play squash and other things. Then I had something that I learned from a gentleman by the name of Wayne Cotton, and he talks about a concept called blue sky. And blue sky is a time for you to reflect. And so I started putting that in, and in the beginning it was maybe an hour or 2 hours a week. It was just called blue sky, where I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to make phone calls. I didn't have to hold appointments. I didn't have to work on my business. It was a time for me to reflect. Time for me to maybe just go for a walk, maybe to go have coffee with a friend. Just time for me to sort of regenerate. Sometimes I would use that time and think about my business. Sometimes I didn't. And then after that, it became about 3 or 4 hours a week where I had time to just regenerate. And what he suggested is you take at least 1 day a month to blue sky. I don't think I ever got to that 1 day a month, but I did accumulatively. I'm sure I added up to that. But so the blue sky allows you time to regenerate and to refocus, you know? So those are some things so far that you can do to sort of tighten up your control of your environment. The next thing you can do is you can break your customers into 3 groups, your current customers, because you have 3 types of customer. You have the kind of customer that you're going to sell, and you know you'll never sell them another thing, and you know that they'll never give you referrals. I call those C customers. I don't call them. Now, if they call me, I certainly will call them back. But I don't chase them. I don't follow up on them. I don't ask for referrals. I don't ask to do a review of their situation on an annual basis or anything, because frankly they don't want it, they don't need it. There are people we meet in our life who will buy from us, and they'll buy from us once, and that'll be the end of it. And that's okay. That's okay for them. We've met their needs. They're fine. The next kind of customer is the customer who has the capacity either to buy from you again or give you referrals, but not necessarily both. And those are called B customers. And what I will do with them is I will reach out to them on their birthday, wish them a happy birthday, and see if there's an opportunity either to revisit their situation or to get referrals, depending on what kind of a B customer they are. And again, I'm not, by classifying them, you're not classifying them as good or bad, you're just classifying them based on their needs. And the final customer is that you'll have a few of these who you know that they're going to buy more than once, and you know that they're quite willing to give you referrals because they've done it in the past. So I contact my A customers. Those are the A customers that have given you referrals, have bought from you, and can do it again. And so I meet with them, let's say I don't meet with them, but I reach out to them twice a year. Once on their birthday, just to wish them a birthday, and once for an annual review. My A customers get an annual review. That means that I sit down with them and I take them through the process and make sure that what we did in the past still does what they want to have done. And then if there's any changes that have to be addressed, we'll deal with those. Okay? And so again, and I will ask for referrals. Okay? So again, let me just restate that. My C customers, they're the ones that buy once, won't give you referrals, don't need to buy again, don't want to buy again. I don't call them. Okay? If they call me, I certainly will respond as a professional. If I get a call from a customer, I absolutely will call them back, regardless of whether they're an A, B, or C. Okay? My B customers are the people who have bought from me, and they could give me referrals or they could buy again, and I will reach out to them once a year on their birthday and just see whether there's an opportunity to do something. Either get referrals or to review their situation. My A customers, I reach out to them twice a year, put them in the calendar, and I call them just before their birthday. Why do you call them just before their birthday? Well, one of our products that we sell is called life insurance, and life insurance is tied directly to your age, so that if they do have a need and you meet with them before they turn a year older, you can save the amount they would have to pay when they're a year older. And so that's a reason to do it. And as well, I will do an annual review with them, and that could be around the birthday, it could be another time, but I will offer an annual review, and that's a chance for us to sit down again and review their situation, look for any gaps, look for any changes, because things do change. People get married, people get divorced, people have children, people get promoted, they buy new apartments, they move, they change cities, all sorts of things happen in people's lives. And so those are reasons for us to evaluate in their gap analysis whether there's any new gaps that we need to address. And so if you can classify your customers, it'll make your life a lot easier. You know, there was a lady I was coaching, and she'd been in the business quite a long time, maybe about 25 years or something, and I think she had about 2,000 customers. And she was working 6.5 days a week. And she was married, grandmother. She said, I'm missing my grandkids. I very seldom see them because I'm so busy. And in the middle of the meeting, while we're working together, she starts crying because she's so upset. And I said, okay, the first thing we're going to do is classify your customers. And I introduced this concept of the A, B's, and C's and how you behave with each one of those. And she had an assistant, and she spent the next couple of weeks doing that. And I said, okay, now you've identified them. What I want you to do is put in your calendar that any A, that you're going to follow up with them on an annual review. Any B, you're going to reach out on their birthday. And C's, you're not allowed to call them anymore unless they call you. And you're to you mark each file, each customer file, exactly that way. And within a very short period of time, within a month, it was a transformation. This lady was incredibly happy because she had time now. Most of her weekends were free because she didn't have to call people. She'd come in the morning at 7 in the morning and work through till 1 in the morning and be there again the next day. That's how she was living her life, trying to manage these 2,000 customers who had all kinds of needs and issues and whatever. And it just was a transformation. It was really amazing to see. And she's still in the business and very happy with her business. And interestingly enough, she's probably earning far more money than, I shouldn't say she probably is, I know she is. She's earning more money now than she did before with the 2,000, because she's focused on the people who have the ability to buy again. You know, if you focus on your A-class customers and you treat them with great respect and you're there for, not every time you're going to meet with them are they going to buy again. Not every time are they going to give you referrals. But after a while, they will. And so you will find when you focus and take your energy and apply it where you get the greatest return, you will indeed get that great return. So again, when you're overwhelmed with your work, you have to find systems, processes, or tools to get through this. You know, the financial services business has been around for 2,000 years. And so any problem that you're facing has been solved by someone else. And so what you need to do is find a system, a process, or a tool, and the problem will go away. The system is like prospecting, like sales process, like business development, like activity management. A process is what you say and you do, okay? And a tool is something you can touch, like a gap analysis or fact-finding document, whatever. So again, system, process, tool. So what you need to think about if you're having trouble anywhere in your business, look for a system, look for a process, look for a tool, and that problem will disappear. I'm going to help you through a series of videos to deal with all those issues, because I have the luxury of being in the business for a long time, of interacting with a huge number of people and picked up the best practices from around the world. So what I'm practically trying to do with you via this video is show you what to do and what to say in any given situation to take some of those problems away from you. So I hope that makes sense to you. So if you are overwhelmed, then you need to take control, but you need to do it systematically. You need to adopt some processes, like focused on your core activities, pay attention to your circadian rhythm, have an agenda, do some blue sky and classify your customers, and you'll find your load will be lightened. You'll become more effective and you'll earn a better income and you'll be happier, because I want you to be happy. I hope this makes sense to you. So, all the very best. Take care. See you again.